Good evening. First of all, I would like to apologize for sending this part of the homework 2 days after the due date, and I would understand if this is not taking as part of my grades. There's really no excuse. I do understand that we must send everything within a deadline frame. I thought I'd do it anyway. This is regarding theories within the international relations scope. A theory is a formulation of concepts and relations that explain causes, processes, and consequences of certain phenomenon. International relations start from this point. They seek to explain the phenomenon of war and cooperation with the global system. However, many of the formulations made have failed to explain the way of acting of the states within the international community. The theory of international relations had its origins with the philosophers such as Kant, Machiavelli, but it was also born from World War II due to the inability of international law and political theory to explain the relation of power between powers. In the 1930s, due to the rise of fascism, governments made some changes to the then idealist system, but this happened to be a failure since they could not explain some of the positions of certain countries within other countries. It was then that realism arose. Realism tries to explain international relations from a zero-sum power positions, and this was explained by Hans Morgenthau. This brought then a debate between realistic and liberalist approaches. In the 1970s, with the relaxation of tension between the Soviet Union and the United States of America, both liberalism and realism needed by all means to be renewed. Within these same theories, we also see classical approaches for each of them. Classic realism has a historical approach as this is based on ideas of ancient philosophers like Hobbes, Machiavelli, Rousseau, Hegel, Weber, Spinoza, etc. In this theory, what we find the most within the international system is conflict. Therefore, war can be described as the basis of the system and can be explained in two ways: the evil inherent in human nature and the international anarchic system. Classic liberalism has had its origins in the Enlightenment, and its philosophers were Smith, Kant, and Locke. In this theory, rationality and freedom are inherent to human nature. Although society seek upon its own interest through the correct regulation of institutions, cooperation is possible. We could say that since they focused mainly on the state, they had to mutate towards a more international approach, and that is when we go into neoliberalism. This approach also contained an economic theory that was based on the use of free market and little to no government involvement. Nowadays, neoliberalism remains important because it helps us to understand international relations. A wide range of theories have also emerged to try to explain the 21st century and its new, ever changing phenomenon.